So Chambers, my name is Trippi Congo, President of Wilmington City Council. And again, on behalf of all of my colleagues, thank you for joining us this evening. Today is Thursday, October the 6th. For any public comment, there is a Google form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to speak. Public comment will take place after non-legislative business. We're going to begin with an opening prayer by Akira Granado.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen. This time we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray.
Present.
Councilwoman Darby.
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver.
Present.
Councilwoman Harley. Councilwoman Fields.
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Field.
Present.
Councilwoman Cabrera. Councilman Mills. Councilman Spadola.
Present.
Councilwoman Walsh. President Congo.
Here.
10 present and 3 absent.
Thank you. Council members Harley, Mills, and Walsh did ask to be excused. This time we'll have the reading of the minutes from the previous meeting.
September 15, 2022, City Council met on regular session with remote participation, the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Kira
I move the
Bernard.
minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our committee reports.
January 13, 2022, President, members of Council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Community Development and Urban Planning Committee, by virtual meeting with remote participation to what was referred ordinance number 21021 entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the City Code to provide for civil fines for owners of vacant properties who fail to register them. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Nathan Field, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilwoman Brigida Fields, Councilman Spadola, Councilwoman Darby, and President Congo.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
September 8th, 2022, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Community Development and Urban Planning Committee, met by anchor location remote participation to was referred ordinance number 22026 entitled, an ordinance naming the Concord and Madison Triangle as the Beatrice R. Dunn Triangle. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Field, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, Councilwoman Darby, and President Congo.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
September 8th, 2022, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Community Development and Urban Planning Committee, met by anchor location remote participation to was referred ordinance number 22036 entitled, an ordinance to rename 4th and Rodney Tot Lot after Pastor Lottie Lee Davis. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Field, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, Councilwoman Darby, and President Congo.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
September 19, 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to whom was referred ordinance number 22032 entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the City Code to create a licensing fee payment structure for stationary engineers and firemen and to reduce the number of persons on the Board of Examining Engineers.
I move this committee report.
Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Gray, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, President Cago, and absent with leave, Councilwoman Walsh.
I move this committee report been received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
September 19, 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to who was referred ordinance number 22034 entitled, an ordinance to approve the removal of a portion of Marsh Lane located between 1175 and 1190 East 7th Street from the official city map. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Gray, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, President Congo, and absent with leave, Councilwoman Walsh.
I move this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that that committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Any more committee reports?
That's it.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank
This time we'll have our city treasurer's report.
October 6, 2022, total investment, $500,267,481.19. Total cash on hand, $12,333,623.65. Grand total, $512,601,104.84. Submitted by Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that that treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Do any council members have any presentations this evening?
I have a presentation. However, I'm still looking for they said that my paperwork is left on the counter, so I don't have my resolution to read.
Okay.
For the land
While we're looking for
litigation
that, do we have any other presentations from any other council members? Just as a friendly reminder, for public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat. For anyone who would like to speak, your time frame is around 3 minutes. Please don't address any council members directly once we do get to public comment. And again, please make sure that you either sign up virtually, or if you are in council chambers, please make sure you sign the sign-in sheet. I will go through some of the other recognitions from council members from all of. I should have done this in the beginning of the meeting, but I'm going to do this now. If we can have a moment of silence for former council member Rashima Dixon. Thank you. So sympathy from all of us for our former colleague, Rashima Dixon. Also from all of council. Just a recognition from Councilwoman Cabrera, recognizing Crystal Norman. Also from Councilwoman Cabrera, recognizing the Very Reverend Father Michael Mary. From Councilwoman Fields, recognizing Bishop Aretha Morton from the Full Gospel Tabernacle Church, Baptist Church. Council Member Harley, a sympathy recognition for Rose Perkins. Also from Councilwoman Harley, recognizing Dr. Jackie McCullough, and also from Councilwoman McCoy, sympathy recognitions for John, please forgive me if I mispronounce his last name, Tukowski, and Larry L. Yarbray. Also from Councilwoman McCoy, recognizing I Am My Sister's Keeper Tea Party. From Councilmember Oliver, sympathy recognitions for Edward Majetti, Bishop James Odell White Sr., Reverend John Theodore Green, Deborah Crisden Boone, and Pastor, and appreciation for recognizing Pastor Appreciation Month also from Councilwoman Oliver. And Councilwoman Oliver also recognizes a salute to the legendary Riverside Mothers, the second edition, and the Lazarus Educational Services Incorporated. From Councilmember Spadola, recognizing Peace Week and Lights On After School. And Councilman Darby, you can come forward now.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This recognition is for the Landlord Engagement Lab team. You're going to learn more about what this is, but in a quick few sentences, the Landlord Engagement Lab is a team of Wilmingtonians who are looking for ways to prevent eviction throughout the city of Wilmington. So I'm going to read the resolution, and we have a few people who should be on the Zoom to speak to this recognition tonight. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. And whereas Council Member Sinead Darby would like to acknowledge the Landlord Engagement Lab and the members of the City of Wilmington cohort for the strategies they have developed to engage our local landlords. And whereas the Landlord Engagement Lab is the product of a collaboration between the National League of Cities and the Stanford Legal Design Lab. It brings together local government agents and staff of small to mid-sized cities to participate in an informational session, engage in peer-to-peer exchanges about housing concerns in their respective cities, and receive interactive sessions on developing a landlord engagement strategy. The Landlord Engagement Lab aims are to support small landlords, prevent eviction, address racial disparities, and to facilitate effective community outreach. And whereas Wilmington was selected out of hundreds of applicants to receive support from the national organization to design solutions to landlord-tenant concerns that fit our city's needs. The team members represent and have different perspectives on rental property management from elected officials. We have researchers, landlords, and tenants. Together, the Wilmington team has produced proposals for large and small-scale changes to support stabilized communities for both tenants and landlords in our city. And whereas less than half of Wilmington residential property is owner-occupied, bridging the communication gap between landlords and tenants plays a significant role in fostering affordable housing opportunity, promoting investment in our neighborhoods, and aiding the city's long-term economic recovery goals. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this legislative body is pleased to recognize the Landlord Engagement Lab and the City of Wilmington cohort members. We look forward to the positive impacts that their work will have on the quality of life of Wilmington's population. And I believe there's a few people on the line. I don't know if they can raise their hands who can speak to this resolution. Oh, someone's here too. Oh, Miss Pam. All right, yeah, come on, Miss Pam.
You can come on up to the podium.
Sinead,
Thank you.
Sinead, give me some tissues.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Pam Hill, And I've been involved in the landlord engagement lab with Councilwoman Darby, who's been a fantastic leader on this. I really do have to say that, for probably about 5 months. So I'm a landlord slash developer here in the Delaware area, in Wilmington specifically. And what I have found unique about this particular lab is that it's been very applied. So oftentimes when you participate in analyses and studies to see how is it that we can have less eviction, which is absolutely the purpose of this, as well as better relationships between renters and property owners, it's usually case study driven, almost textbook. This has given us real world examples that we can use and that we're in the process now of developing, and I'm sure Councilwoman Darby will be sharing with you the results of what we have over the next couple of months. But it's approximately 10 cities in all, and Wilmington, Delaware is one of them. And this is the sort of thing that I hope that we continue to do because it's just so critical to make sure that we get ahead of eviction before it comes sitting at the city council's doorstep, or me as a landlord, or the folks that I have as tenants who also participate in this. So thanks, everyone. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anybody on the line? That was it.
WITN, do we have
Hello?
anyone?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for joining
Okay,
us.
hi. Thank you. My name is Steve Matro. I'm an associate professor at the Biden School of Public Policy Administration at the University of Delaware, and also a member of the committee. And thank you for the recognition, Councilwoman Darby, and to the City Council. Appreciate it. I think this is important work. As we all know, there's a substantial housing crisis, and this committee gives the opportunity for landlords and tenants and tenant advocates and researchers like myself and other interesting people to come together, and where we would, otherwise kind of not have a forum to basically see each other's perspectives and work together towards a solution to this very pressing problem. So I thank the Councilwoman for her leadership in this, and look forward to, we have a lot of work to do, and I look forward to getting some results to contribute to a solution. Thank you.
I think that's it. We good? All right.
WITM, are there any other speakers?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
On behalf of the group, I am Maggie Messinger, and on behalf of the group, which has been just a wonderful experience for so many of us, I'd like to thank Councilperson Darby for shining a light on this topic. She and the National League of Cities and the Stanford Legal Design Lab worked with us to develop plenty of ideas and strategies to improve the ways the city can redouble its housing and community development efforts. There were facilitated discussions among city stakeholders that inspired some really great ideas. We hope that those great ideas will morph into an improvement of policies and programs within the city. We learned some real valuable information from other municipalities about how to improve data tracking and GPSing, and that was a totally exciting off-ramp to explore further. We do hope the city will pursue adopting some of the strategies that were developed within this group, and we'd like to thank her for the opportunity and including us in this important work. Thank you.
I think that's it. I don't know.
WITN, are there any other speakers?
That's it. All right. We open up the council. I'm good.
No, I'd like to.
Okay. Yeah, it's open.
No, I'd like to give kudos to Councilman Darby. I was able to sit in the meeting with some individuals from out of town and some individuals from here, and it was very informative. So, good work.
Well, thank you guys.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Darby. Are there any other council members who have presentations? If not, we will move to public comment. Again, as a friendly reminder, if you haven't already signed up, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who is virtual. Again, your time frame is around 3 minutes. When it gets to be about 30 seconds left, we will give you a friendly reminder. First, we'll start with those who are in council chambers with us. Mr. J, the Honorable J. P. Street.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. I had to come back here tonight for two reasons. One, to continue to give my unequivocal support for the renaming of the Concord Triangle to the Beatrice Dunn Triangle, and also renaming the Rodney Street Tot Lot to the in honor of Pastor Lotta Lee Davis. Regarding Ms. Dunn, when I first entered the public service arena in 1974, Ms. Dunn was known as the mayor of Riverside. She was of, for, and about people, especially our children. And the executive director of Hilltop, who replaced me, Michelle Williams, she grew up in Riverside, and she said that when Miss B had a party, it was a block party, it was a community party. When I was parks director, there was one playground I never had to worry about. But I knew it was going open early and close late. She was active with Tenants Council. She was active and she was a founding member of the National Coalition of Title I ESEA Parents. She was a teacher's aide at both Harlan and Burnett. And family asked me to bring some remarks on their behalf. And the harsh reality is they shared their mother with the city of Wilmington. And for that, as I have said before, I am truly, truly grateful and appreciative. And her granddaughter called me yesterday and she said, Mr. Street, God has called me. He wants me to try to be a community activist. Can you help me? And I said, I sure will. And I had to come not once, twice, 3 times, because you never forget for once you come. And I'm not going to forget 1974, I actually had all my hair and it was black. I didn't know what I was doing. Starting my new job, hadn't got acclimated. And I was catching the same kind of heat that all of us catch in this arena. And quite frankly, B jumped up in the middle of the meeting and said, would y'all just give him a chance? And that was divine intervention, because I'm sure she didn't know I was getting ready to cuss everybody out and quit. In regard to Ms. Davis, and I'm sorry, Mr. President, for being so long, but as a member of Westside Groves, an active member, she was a fierce advocate for getting the illicit activity out of Rodney Street Tot Lot and getting the renovation done. She had the same passion for Father Tucker Playground, and Westside Groves, I don't think would have moved forward unless she was involved to the extent that it did. And what she's done with housing, what she did with the church, speaks for itself. So I'm proud to support both of these changes this evening, and I hope you will too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Sarah Lester.
Thank you very much, Council President and council members. I think this is my first time maybe doing public comment, so lots of familiar, friendly faces. Thank you. I'm here. My name's Sarah Lester. I'm the president of Cornerstone West CDC, and I have had the privilege of supporting and being part of West Side Grows Together for the past 6 years. I live on the West Side. And day 2 on the job, back in 2016, I met Pastor Lee Davis. And I just knew immediately that I wanted to and needed to work really hard to earn her trust and to become her friend, because it was so obvious to me how important she was and is to the 4th Street community, to the West Side, and to the city of Wilmington. So I know that over the years, she and many, many others worked tirelessly to make improvements to all of our parks, but very specifically the 4th Street Tot Lot. And I was just out there walking around with Director Smith from Parks and Rec the other day, and we were just talking about the use that playground gets from all of the children in the community and how much of an improvement. I would love to share the pictures of kind of before and after with everyone, because it is remarkable. So I just truly appreciate our Councilwoman Fields and many, many others who've supported this renaming, including Councilwoman McCoy and her role previously with West Side Grows Together. Just really appreciate you for bringing that to council, and very much obviously support the renaming. And I just want to acknowledge too in the audience the team of Be Ready CDC that have stepped up, and her, in her huge absence, who we all miss very dearly, but Elder Wayne DeShields, Pastor Lottie's brother, and Pastor Margaret Moon Taylor, who is not currently in the room, but is part of that leadership team, who's a dear friend of Pastor Lottie. So Be Ready CDC is strong and is a testament to Pastor Lottie's legacy, and we continue to lift her up as part of our work with West Side Grows Together. So thank you very much.
Thank you. There is another name on here, but they didn't indicate whether you wanted to speak or not, so I didn't want to overlook. I think the last name is Hill. Okay. All right. So at this time, we will move to our virtual community. First, we have Desiree Williams. Desiree Williams, if you can hear me, please raise your hand so that WITN can recognize you and allow you to have a microphone. Desiree Williams. Okay, next we're going to move. We'll come back to Desiree if she still is with us. Delaware Moorish Society. If anyone from the Delaware Moorish Society is virtual, please raise your hand. Delaware Moorish Society. Okay, we will circle back. Stephanie Lambert. Stephanie Lambert, if you are virtual and if you can hear me, please raise your hand.
Yes, hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. My issue is I am an 8th and Adams resident, was an 8th and Adams resident. And, thank you very much for the tenants and everyone and the landlords trying to come together to better that portion of that the problem. But what about not eviction? What about being condemned, being thrown out on the street, and nobody having a plan for people like that? 2 hours to get our stuff out. What do you have to say for that? I mean, we're out on the streets with no plan for us, but you're worried about evictions. What about being condemned because of the landlord? Not the tenant, the landlord.
Well, thank you, Ms.
Yes,
Lambert.
no, okay.
Were you finished with your comments?
Basically, we haven't gotten any help. We were out here. It hasn't even been 6 months. I'm not even gonna bring that up. I'll talk to you personally about that. But basically, we've been out here, and it seems like we're being put out because I can't go to the Hope Center because I have a son, teenage son, and I can't. You know, they have so many rules that there's things that I can't abide by. Not because I don't want to or choose to, but because they're so strict. We didn't ask to be in this position. So what is there for us another plan instead of just saying you have only A and B and that's it? That's not fair to us as tenants. The landlord did this. We did not do this. And there's money that is funded that is not being put out to us that needs to be from COVID. That is ridiculous. And that needs to be addressed. There's more advocates that have been out than council people. I have not seen one council person come visit this motel. Not one at all. But I have seen advocates dropping off food and everything. Yes, it is just a bag with sandwiches and a couple of juices, but it feeds the children. But you know, that's for the people that are able to go to the Hope Center. Not because they choose to, but because of their circumstances. That is my comment.
Okay, thank you. If you don't mind, can you leave your contact information in the chat?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, Mr. Trippy. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharita? Sharita, if you can hear me, please raise your hand so that WITN can open up your microphone. Sharita? We're going to move to Renisha Williams. Okay. Sharita, thank you for joining us. Hi, Sharita.
Yes,
Hi, thank you for joining us. We can hear you.
yes. My issue is basically what Stephanie Lambert said. That's the same issue I'm having. But I also have a daughter that has Down syndrome, which is 22. So yes, it's definitely hard in trying to go to the Hope Center when you can't leave your kids, and I mean it's just a mess. She can't be left alone, but I also have to work. So I agree with everything Stephanie Lambert said.
Okay, thank you. And if you don't mind, can you also leave your contact information?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Renisha Williams. Renisha, if you can hear me, please raise your hand. I'm going to circle back to Desiree Williams.
Hey, my hand. Am I on there?
Hi, Renisha. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Well, I feel like everything that Sharita Williams and Stephanie said was pretty much touching all the bases. We literally don't have any options at this point. The Hope Center is not an option. Like, it's too many rules that we're not, able and capable to abide by. So it's like, what other options do we have?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Williams. If you don't mind, can you leave your contact information also?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm going to circle back to Desiree Williams. If you can hear me, please raise your hand. And is anyone here from the Delaware Moorish Society? If so, please raise your hand. WITN, do we have either of those parties with us? Okay, all right, thank you. Well, I do want to thank everyone who spoke publicly, in-house and virtually. We do appreciate your comments and your feedback. Please continue to participate with us every council meeting. We do have open public comment. You just need to sign up and you can come and we will definitely follow up with all of our public speakers this evening. Next, we're going to move to legislative business. Councilmember Gray.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 21-021, Agenda 0034, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the City Code to provide for civil fines for owners of vacant properties who fail to register them.
Mr. President, I have a substitute to present in lieu of that ordinance.
Substitute number 1 to ordinance number 21021, revision 1 to agenda 0034. An ordinance to amend chapter 4 of the city code to provide for civil fines for owners of vacant properties who fail to register them.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea and nay vote on the question.
Yes, so this legislation, the last week, I think this was on the agenda to talk about was in April. But just to refresh people's minds, this is to turn from criminal to civil for people who fail to register to get a business license. So already, if you are a property owner, you're supposed to get a business license. So this turns the process to holding landlords accountable from a criminal to a civil process so that we're able to hold landlords accountable and not wait on our criminal justice system. So that is the summary for this legislation.
Okay, and seeing no other hands raised, Councilwoman McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sorry. This is about the licensing, or is this about vacant properties being addressed? It seems like it's two different.
Yes, it's two different things.
Sorry, yeah, this one is for vacant properties who fail to register them. I'm sorry.
Any other council members?
Yeah.
Councilmember Oliver.
Sure. Could Councilman Darby read that over because she read the wrong ordinance? So that's
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
That's okay.
So, yep. So this one is to turn
what's the ordinance number? I'm sorry.
ordinance 21-021.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So this one is to turn this to a civil fine instead of a criminal for owners of vacant properties who fail to register them. Because currently now there's a criminal process to holding people accountable with vacant property. So this will allow us to hold vacant property owners accountable through a quicker process and system if it's a civil fine that they'll receive.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilwoman Oliver.
Now, this ordinance, we changed that. It's no criminal fines. It's all civil fines now. I'm saying, I think you're still not saying what you're saying on the ordinance, but this is civil fines for owners of vacant properties who fail to file them. But it was never, we already passed, it's no civil now. That's what we changed like last year sometime. It's all civil now. Yeah.
Yeah, this is for vacant properties who fail to register.
Gotcha. Okay, I don't see that on it. Go ahead.
Any other council members? Okay. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, President. So, Chair is correct. We did pass one from criminal to civil when it came to fines and things of that nature to our properties. But when it's the accountability for the owner to register, that I don't believe that actually did get a chance to get changed. So
that's the difference.
Yeah, this is a little.
That's what I was trying to hear. I'm sorry.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Yeah, I'll just clarify that when the previous council had this legislation before, it was part of 3, amending Chapter 34 of the Housing Code, turning this from criminal to civil, the vacants, as well as the fines. So when the council said that it was too much, it was separated. So this is one of the legs. It is being sponsored by Councilwoman Darby, but certainly I'm in agreement with it because we do need to overhaul the whole housing code and how we do business. And obviously we did pass, thanks to the council, Chapter 34 has been amended to change it from criminal to civil so that we can accelerate the process and hold people accountable, because these vacants is what's bringing our city down, and this is where the greatest amount of crime takes place. So I'm very much in support of this as we work collaboratively to continue to amend the housing laws. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to be a co-sponsor.
Please add Councilwoman Oliver as a co-sponsor. And Councilwoman Darby, any final words?
No final words.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilwoman Darby, you may continue.
Yeah, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 22-026, Agenda 0181, an ordinance naming the Concord and Madison Triangle as the Beatrice R. Dunn Triangle.
Mr. President, move that to be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yeah, so this ordinance names the Concord and Madison Triangle as the Beatrice R. Dunn Triangle in recognition of Miss Beatrice Dunn and her significant contribution to the city of Wilmington. We have Honorable Councilperson Jay Street, who spoke so highly of her, her family. They were present at the committee meeting, and they talked a lot about her accomplishments. And she was the mayor of Riverside. She was impactful over in the North Side area throughout the city of Wilmington. She was a mother, a community advocate, an activist, and she was deeply important to the community. And she passed away March of 2021. So this is a recognition to her contributions to the city.
Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think this is way overdue. I was just with Roy Campbell when he was honoring some others from over Riverside, and this is his second event, and her name always comes up. So everybody know Miss Dunn, and there's some people, it's a lady, I was just telling her daughter in the district who told me to tell her hi, and she hasn't seen her in years, but kudos to the family and Darby for getting this through.
And seeing no other council members, their hands raised. Councilwoman Darby, any other final comments?
No other comments.
All right, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President. I'm sorry. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Which
This one is,
0231.
0231.
Ordinance 22-040, Agenda 0231, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the Wilmington City Code relating to the Citizens Complaint Review Board.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the Wilmington City Code relating to the Citizens Complaint Review Board.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Public Safety Committee.
Let me get a second, please.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Public Safety Committee.
That's all I have for the night.
Mr. President, may I?
Yeah.
For the record, Councilwoman Darby, Agenda 0230, are you planning to hold that? Correct?
Yes, I'm holding that one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, Mr. President. I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 22-034, Agenda 0215, in order to approve the removal of a portion of Marsh Lane located between 1175 and 1190 East 7th Street from the official city map.
Yes, Mr. President, I move this be known as an enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this ordinance is being presented by the administration for council's review. The ordinance authorizes the removal of a portion of marshland located between 1175 and 1190 East 17th Street off the official map of Wilmington.
And seeing it, no other hands raised.
It says 7th Street, I'm sorry, East 7th, not 17th, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes,
10 yeas and 3 absent.
declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have another resolution to present.
Resolution 22064, Agenda 0232, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that that resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this resolution is approving the Department of Public Works for hazard mitigation assist a grant program application to DEMA to develop a elevate flood, basically what we went through over 11th Street Bridge. This mitigation is to lower the Brandywine area. So if such floods happen again, hopefully it can be prevented over in that area.
Councilmember Gray?
I just think that she meant to say it's to raise the road in that area.
Yes, to elevate the flood.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Any other council members? Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes,
10 yeas and 3 absent.
declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have another resolution to present.
Resolution 22065, Agenda 0233, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is housekeeping from the administration for council's review. This resolution authorized Department of Public Works grant application to the state of Delaware for natural resources and environment control for the funds allotted for the sewer overflow, water storm reuse, multiple municipal grants program in amount of $421,250. Fund will be used to reduce combined sewer overflows, mitigation of quality of stormwater discharge into the Brandywine Creek, and create a green space that will benefit the local community.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes,
10 yeas and 3 absent.
declared adopted.
Okay, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 22041, Agenda 0234, in ordinance to require the creation, publication, and maintenance of a revised City of Wilmington organizational chart.
Yes, Mr.
First
President.
reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to require the creation, publication, maintenance of a revised City of Wilmington organizational chart.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Yes, Mr. President, I move this be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
That would be all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, Mr. President. I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 22036, Agenda 0217, an ordinance to rename the Fourth and Ronnie Tot Lot after Pastor Lottie Lee Davis.
Mr. President, I move that it be known as an enacting clause of an ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea and nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, I'd just like to, again, thank Westside Groves. I'd like to thank Pastor Lottie Lee's family for being present tonight. This means a lot to the community, means a lot to my colleagues, McCoy, and also Chris Johnson. So, you know, I just want, it's just, it needs to be named after her, and I'm sorry that it waited so late, but it's done now, and, you know, we're just gonna move forward, but it's a blessing, and I just thank everybody for voting for it and being co-sponsors on this piece of ordinance.
I'd like to be a co-sponsor from that.
Please add Councilmember Oliver as a co-sponsor.
Noted.
Councilmember Gray.
Yes, I agree that this is needed, and I'd like to say that Lottie Lee was my intern at the Department of Corrections in a previous life of mine, and we worked together for over a year, and it was really a great relationship. But then I lost track of her. I guess that's like 20 years I lost track of her because I didn't know that she was a pastor either. So I think this is much needed, and she was a wonderful person way back then, so obviously it continued in her life. So thank you for this tribute.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Yeah, if I didn't request previously to be a sponsor, I certainly would like to be added. And just want to say that, you know, Pastor Lottie was our pastor. She was everybody's pastor. And she had as many Latinos coming to her church as the Hispanic church that was hosting there as well. And I'm thankful to her not only for what she did in rebuilding that 4th Street corridor, part of a bigger plan, but how she managed to be involved in so many different things to reach into the community. And my work with her personally was making sure that people had access to affordable health care. And I did a lot of events there to enroll people and to educate them about insurance. So she is missed, and thank you to my colleague for sponsoring this and for everyone supporting it, because it's well deserved.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. There will be no replacing Pastor Lottie Lee, and I know Pastor Moon and the Be Ready CDC group is continuing to work. You know, the housing project on 4th Street, the continued revitalization of Hilltop. You know, there's a lot in store in memory of Pastor Lottie, as she was, you know, part of kicking off getting resources to the community. So, you know, I remember her just celebrating getting a block grant, you know, probably about a month before she passed. And, you know, I was speaking with her about the excitement she was looking forward to. So, again, I think we all on the West Side will miss her and will continue to cherish her memory. I think it'll be great with the renaming. As last year we were able to get the mural. I think that looks beautiful. If you haven't had a chance, take a look at that. And again, continue on the West Side and throughout the city to work for the community in the memory of Pastor Lottie.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I just wanted to state that I am so glad to see that this is happening. It's been it's a little over 2 years now since we lost Pastor Lottie, and I've thought about her a great deal, you know, looking at how 4th Street at some point we're going to see her whole vision come finally to fruition. Pastor Lottie had a dream for 4th Street, you know, long before Westside Groves came there. It's just that she needed, I guess, a stronger partnership in order to bring those dreams, you know, make them tangible. So I'm just so glad that that partnership happened. For that tot lock was It was a mess. It was a mess, and we definitely had to actually change the behavior and the community around it before any renovation actually came to pass. But now it's like it's a gem, and it shows what the community can do. And I'm just so glad that they believed, and she helped them believe. She helped them see the vision. So I do miss her. I'm so glad that this has actually happened. Thank you so much, Councilwoman, because I was like, please do something about it. And I'm just glad that we're finally going to see it.
Thank you.
It's about partnership.
Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too echo what all my colleagues said about Pastor Lottie. But I knew her when I was younger. She started over South Bridge. Her husband still has that store on the corner, Sasquatch. Her mother owned that whole corner, really that whole block. Her mother was a pioneer over South Bridge. She was one of the first minority store owners over there for Penny Candy. The store is still there. It's right on 400 block of Hill Street. Her husband has a lot of plants out there and everything. So she's been a trailblazer all her life, put it like that. And I'm glad to see that Councilman Fields and Westside Grove, everybody has came together at large and everybody who's supporting this, and it's a good thing, finally. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Fields, any final words?
I'd just like to say thank you to all my colleagues for definitely supporting me. And I just can't wait for it to go on the map so everybody can see it. And I hope her family and her friends and the community are happy that this is being done. And hopefully we can get a ribbon cutting. I'm working on that too.
All right, thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field? Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember McCoy.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I have no items tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Field.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. Councilmember Spadola.
Yes, Council President. I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 22032, Agenda 0211, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the City Code to create a licensing fee payment structure for stationary engineers and firemen and to reduce the number of persons on the Board of Examining Engineers.
Mr. President, I have a substitute to present in lieu of that ordinance.
Substitute number 1 to ordinance number 22032, revision 1 to Agenda 0211, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the City Code to create payment structure for licensing fees for stationary engineers and firemen to reduce the number of persons on the Board of Examining Engineers from 3 to 1.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes, Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, I have a motion to amend Agenda 0211. Need a second.
Second?
If you can state your amendment, please.
Yes, the amendment, Mr. President, I move to amend the ordinance so that it allows two examining engineers instead of one, and to increase the yearly salary for each engineer from 0 to 1,000 to each year.
Council President, point of order.
Yes, Councilmember Spadola.
Should I not have had made my preliminary comments before we had the amendment?
No, you're fine.
Thank you. I move to amend the ordinance in the following 4 ways. Replace the phrase, a position of examining engineer in section 4-241A with the phrase 2 positions for examining engineers, and replace a city resident whose duty with city residents whose duties in the same subsection. Number 2, replace examining engineers with the plural sections 4-241, comma, 4-242, comma, 4-243, comma, 4-244, comma, and 4-245, period. Number 3, replace the phrase three members to 1 member in the synopsis and the title and phase 3 members to 2. Number 4, insert the following subsection G into section 4-241 to read as follows. Each examining engineer shall receive a compensation for their services under subchapter in the sum of $1,000 each per year. And that's all my amendments, Mr. President.
And if this is the appropriate time, I'm seconding that.
It's been properly moved and second for the amendments for the ordinance. We'll take a vote on the amendments and then we can have public comment.
Can we ask questions on the amendment?
I'm sorry, we'll have comment first and then we'll take a vote. Councilmember Gray.
Yes, this came out in the committee meeting, and this is something that we've had back and forth on the agenda for over a year. And this seems like a very reasonable result to the examining engineers that we were going to do away with. But we found out there are boilers in the city, so I think this is a good way to reduce the amount of engineers, but yet still have someone just in case there's a problem with some of the boilers in the city. The amendment will allow us to hire 2 instead of 1, which was initially proposed for this board that we're doing away with, and to give them some compensation. I mean, at that, Councilman Spadola didn't think that people should be compensated because members of other boards in the city aren't compensated, but this is a different day and age, and people are needing money. Their time is spent doing a lot of things they didn't have to do before. I mean, just things are chaotic. So I think giving them some minimum payment for serving the city is not too much to ask at $1,000 a year. So that's the reason I'm supporting the amendment to this.
Councilmember Corbetta.
Yeah, my question was on the cost of paying them. Is that something budgetary that needs to be pre-approved? I mean, now seeing that the amount is a small amount for the year, it's not like it's $1,000 a week. Whether that had a budgetary impact and whether there was more action that needed to be done when something has a budgetary impact. That was my question or comment.
Okay. We'll take other comments before we go back to Councilmember Oliver. Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. This is small potatoes in general. So I'm more taken aback that this motion came out of nowhere without, 5 minutes before the meeting. I don't even know half of what you just said, Councilmember Oliver. So without having it, and it seems like the crux of it is the $1,000 salary. But just on that, I agree with it is not much money, but it's almost this, according to the administration, getting rid of this was essentially just housekeeping because it's been dormant. And now we're talking about paying somebody $1,000 to do what the administration said wasn't being done in the first place. So to me, it's not about the money. Morally, I don't want to just have $1,000 patronage position. So I oppose it on that extent, and to keep it consistent with the other boards and commissions that the city has that I believe are all unpaid. So because it's not utilized heavily, I'm going to be against the amendment. And I ask my colleagues to be as well.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Can each amendment be individual, like each 4, instead of saying all of them together? Because what if I agree with one but not the other? So I might agree about increasing the number of board examiners, but not the $1,000.
That's a question for Councilmember Oliver.
Okay, I spoke to Commissioner, this came about because I spoke to Commissioner Kelly Williams, who was in charge of Public Works, and you just hear the numbers, but it's just in there to say that in that section, instead of saying a person, they're just saying put it all as plural, because it's not going to be one as Councilman Spadola had, it's going to be 2. So all the 4- and all that, it just says in the language to make it plural instead of one person, it's going to be 2. And what came from this, some people are calling from the union, and people are calling saying, look, we do have people. We had several people who send over their resumes. So Commissioner Kelly said she think it's best not to just have one person, to make it fair, have two. And some people should, she said she don't think that it should be zero because it is a job and people need money. And she said just give them $1,000. So this is based on from the commissioner from Public Works. And I do have to agree with Spadola. It was the last minute, but phone calls are coming in and things just happen. So it's people that do have their license and they're saying, look, and I mean, this has been going on for a while. They just don't want to do away with it. So this is a win-win for everybody. So now the people from the union who have a certificate, they could come in and give people examinations and they could still get paid $1,000 a year. So really it's like volunteer work, but she just wanted to put something in there.
Thank you, Councilmember Gray.
Okay, since Councilmember Spadola brought up that this was just a housekeeping matter, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Yes, someone brought up that they wanted to get rid of the Board of Examining Engineers. The board totally, and in the law, council is responsible for that board. So it was our responsibility to either hire someone or place someone on the board. So when I looked into it, the Board of Examining Engineers license other examining engineers, and they're really like boiler engineers. Their job is to inspect and to rate boilers that are in the city and county. There are two different types. Some are under pressure. Those are the ones we're concerned about. And I think they only need checking like once a year. But the people that would do the checking are the people that were on the Board of Examining Engineers. So I understand why they probably wanted to get rid of the board, because it's only 2 or 3 of these things that need to be checked every year. So like I said, this is a great compromise to sort of get rid of the board and bring it down to 1 or 2 people. But also, as Councilman Oliver said, I've gotten a couple calls too about persons that want to be licensed. This board also licensed all the boiler engineers in the state. So if we just totally got rid of the board, I couldn't find anyone that would license the boiler engineers, and there wouldn't be anyone to inspect them. And there was no one's job to inspect them, okay? So this is the compromise. And I wanted to go back to the beginning so people would understand why this was a controversy in the beginning. Because it was council's responsibility to have this board, to hire these people. I think they were paid at that time, much more than $1,000. So that's the history. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you. Point of clarity, I believe most of Councilmember Gray's comments were about the original legislation, not the amendment, because it did all blow up, because the administration said it was housekeeping, and it clearly wasn't. So yes, the intent of my original legislation is to save the board, because I had a couple city residents reach out to me after I thought it was just going to be an easy vote, and then all of a sudden it blew up. But just in terms of, I wrote this with basically Vincent Kelly saying, look, let's just get this done. There's too many people upset over something so small. So it was the Public Works that suggested reducing it from 3 to 1. So again, where the 2 comes out of, I think somebody's looking for a patronage position, and I'm going to oppose it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fields.
Yes, I just wanted to know, and I might have missed it, but does the $1,000 put a strain on the budget?
Councilmember Oliver.
No. I mean, thanks to Councilman Spadola say he spoke to Vince. I spoke to Vincent's boss. I mean, it's basically, we all saying the same thing. Too many union people, Local 199, 55, they all call in. So this was a way to say, look, if somebody wants to still, get their license or get this examination for boilers, and like she said, it's boilers from all throughout the state of Delaware. Nobody really wants to do it, so it's not hurting us financially at all. It's nothing. It's not bothering the budget at all.
Can I follow
It's not a
up?
fiscal impact.
Okay.
Councilmember Cabrera.
I don't know, I guess my point is that, was this something that was discussed in the committee?
Yeah.
And I understand that this is a last minute change and
was
maybe
discussed.
time got away from us, but
Discuss.
I just think it would have been a conversation with the sponsor and a compromise and
Exactly.
just, let's discuss it. I'm not opposed
Just
to the amendment.
when it's called
I,
the road.
but at the same time, it's, to me, I'm just confused because I thought I was told there was no boilers left in the city, and that's why we were doing away with it altogether.
No, I have a
No,
list.
that's
I
not
have a
true.
list
But
of every
then,
boiler in
Councilman
the
Gray
council.
was persistent to
And
get
this
some
was
information
discussed.
on that.
This
Councilmember
was
Gray,
discussed.
Councilmember Gray, please wait to be called on.
sorry.
Councilmember
Okay.
Cabrera, wait.
I'm confused.
Councilmember Gray.
I just wanted to say it was discussed
Yeah,
in
it was.
council. I brought up that I wanted two and that I wanted them to have a salary. There wasn't a discussion of an amendment, but I did discuss those two issues that I had a problem with on the initial ordinance, that I wanted more than one and I wanted them to be paid.
Okay, I guess one of my concerns is they're on a board and they're being paid, and I just don't know of any other boards in our that we have any type of authority over where the members are paid. I don't understand the $1,000. I know it's very minimal, and if it's minimal, why are we including the $1,000? That's probably my biggest concern. I'm not sure why they're being paid, and most board members don't get paid. Yes, Councilmember Oliver.
Yeah, it's like, I guess if you're in a union, you come to take a test, he's the trainer, so the trainer gets paid. If you go over longshoreman and take a test, the guy who gives the test, they get paid, and it was way more than this, and it's $1,000 for both of them a year. And these are just guys who want to make sure it's a place for brewers to be able to get the examination. So, I can take a roll call on the amendment.
Not yet, please.
Oh,
Let other council members to have comments. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I do recall that it was 3, and I think the amount, if I can remember, I think it was like 8. So
8,000.
I am definitely, so I'm definitely glad that we are not eliminating board, because that was definitely something I've spoken about previously. My fear that we still had boilers. I'm glad that got cleared up. But honestly, are we able to separate the fact that these people are on the board to the fact that they're getting paid if they're giving a test? Does that something that we have to be responsible for? If they're paid to give a test or whatever, that does not have anything to do with this piece of legislation, correct? So we could eliminate the $1,000 and let them receive their pay for giving a test so that people can be certified. Shouldn't that be separate?
Councilmember Oliver, do you want to respond?
No, as we stated before, I think it was like 8,000. No, these guys are certified. So just say if you take away the $1,000, who would want to come in here just to volunteer from downstate to give these guys these tests? What it is, it's nowhere else that, we can't find nowhere else. And Vince may say, oh, it's only 1 or 2 of them. That's 1 or 2 people's jobs that make over $100,000. They have to come and get examination. I mean, so it's up to us, as Councilwoman Grace said, this is city council. Either we're going to eliminate it and just say, well, y'all think somebody going to come in here and just do this for free, as the commissioner said. I mean, like I said, I spoke to Commissioner Kelly Williams. So one way or another, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. But these are certified people come in to, whenever somebody calls, they have to show up. If they show up once a month, they might show up 2 months. It's people sitting back pending now, waiting to get their examination engineer's test.
Councilmember Darby, did you have any comment?
No, I'm good.
Councilmember Field.
Yeah, think I understand what my colleague Councilwoman McCoy was saying. I think she was saying, can we do the 2 people on this amendment and then do another ordinance for the 1,000? Is that what that was? No.
Councilmember McCoy, did you? I think her concern is why are we initiating payment?
Got you.
For
Okay.
right.
All right.
Why is that coming under our authority?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And just for the final, they always got paid under authority. It was like $8,000. That's why he reduced it to 0. And she said, just give them 1,000, because she just evidently somebody wants to take this test. She's saying, just give them something. That's $1,000 a year, y'all. That's not like $1,000 a week. And it's already money sitting in the pot. This is not messing with us fiscally.
And seeing no other council members with their hands raised, we're going to take a vote on the amendment. Clerk, please call for the roll.
You doing a roll call vote or voice vote?
Roll call vote. Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes?
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Present.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
No.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
No.
Councilman Spadola,
No.
President Congo.
No.
5 yeas, 4 nays, 1 present, and 3 absent.
And declared adopted. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Declared adopted.
No.
No? You said 5 and 4?
5 yeas, 4 nays, 1 present, and 3 absent.
President's a no.
What's that?
So I'm confused. I'm sorry.
Ask the attorney. It's right
Yep.
there.
What is
that?
So,
The president's a no.
so you're not counting, because it's a motion, you're not counting present. So it's 9 that voted. So it's 5 out of 9, so that would be a majority.
Yeah.
So declared
it's
adopted.
Declared
All right.
adopted.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, you can go back
Wait,
to the
Point of
initial.
order. Point of order.
Yes, Councilman Spadola.
We have 10 people here. It's not that his present vote doesn't count. He's still part of the majority of people that are here. So we have 10 people that voted. So it's 5 out of 10. It's basically 5-5. It's 4 no, 1 present, which is essentially 5 negative.
He knows what he's doing. No,
No,
no, excuse me.
Yes.
He knows.
So I'm just
Exactly.
saying,
He's right.
so this is, in Rule 8 of your rules regarding motions and resolutions, it says the vote of a majority of members in attendance and voting, which has been defined as if you're saying you're abstaining when you're saying present. So in that situation, present isn't counted. For motions and resolutions, it's different for ordinances. So because so you wouldn't count the present, so it wouldn't be 5 out of 10. It would be 5 out of 9.
Motion adopted. That's right. Here it is right here. Motion.
Can you repeat that, please, for Councilwoman Oliver?
Yeah.
Anyone else who might need clarity?
So, in your rules, instead of saying a majority of members, it says a majority of the members in attendance and voting. So, if you're saying present, you're abstaining based on Robert's rules. So you're not considered in attendance and voting. So just with motions and resolutions we're talking about. So in that situation, right, although 10 people were called on, when someone says present, that's not counted.
How is present not in attendance?
So you're abstaining, so it's in attendance and voting. So you have to be here and you have to vote. It's not considered a vote if you say present. You have to say yay or nay.
Where is it not considered a vote, though?
In the rules.
In the rules and then in Robert's rules. So they would say that if you say, so it's like if she were to say abstain. So she's not voting in how it's defined. So it's the same thing when she says present, or he says present.
We've always looked at present as a no vote, and I think that's why there's confusion.
Not in this case.
So I'm not going to belabor the point.
Yeah. Well, I will say this is, law has talked about this before, but I understand the confusion. I just want to make sure I was clear.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Gray.
Yes, could you tell me what the rule is for ordinances? You said this is for,
Thank you. But we got to stay with this right now, please.
reading the law, so I mean.
Yes, you can answer that.
So with ordinances, you need, based on the charter, you need 7 people total. So that's a different situation where you're not talking about in attendance and voting. That's language specific in your rules only to motions and resolutions.
Yes, Councilmember Gray, can you turn your mic back on, please, or speak into the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That we
Thank you.
can't hear you. Thank you. So based on that opinion, declared adopted for the amendment. Declared adopted on the amendment.
Council President,
Yes, Councilmember Spadola.
I would like to hold my legislation.
Point of order.
Yes,
Can't hold
Councilmember
it.
Oliver.
Thank you. You can't hold the legislation we voted on. It's been adopted.
No,
We haven't voted on it.
on the amendment.
Oh, if the parliamentarian is here.
Parliamentarian, can you please comment? Yes, yes, thank you. So based on our parliamentarian's opinion, the legislation, although it was changed, it is technically still Councilman Spadola's legislation, so he does have the ability to hold it.
Thank you, Mr.
It's going to be held. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Spadola. Any other legislation, Councilman Spadola?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
All right, thank you. At this time, we will move to petitions and communications. Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have one announcement. On November 6th, and I don't have all the details, at the Powell Center, there will be a job fair. And the number one person there will be McDonald's. And he has jobs available at all levels, starting at management all the way down. And it will be for the McDonald's in the Wilmington area, which is Ellesmere, Claymont, Market Street, and 4th Street. So I'm telling everyone, there may be other nonprofits at this job fair, but if you need a job, want a job, Want to change jobs, please come to the job fair. It will be November 4th. I will have more information next meeting, but, keep it on your calendar for now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Yes, I have two things. I want to talk about school choice coming up, and there's an information night for Christina School District on Wednesday, October 12th at 6:30 p.m. So if you're looking to register your child for kindergarten or any grade and you're looking for another school option, this would be a good information session for you to attend. And also, I read an article today about lead testing happening in our school systems, and over 22 schools throughout the state of Delaware tested positive for drinking water for lead in their drinking water. So I think it's really important that we're contacting our school boards. Where lead is a dangerous chemical that breaks down your body in many ways. It has long-term generational impacts on fertility, and your body parts, mental, physical. So I think it's really important that parents are notified of these type of things. And please contact your school board. Please, please, please contact your school board to let them know that action needs to be taken to get lead out of this drinking water for our schools. It was Colonial School District, Christina. There were some Brandywine School District, Concord High School, Mount Pleasant High School. I have a list of the 22 schools, and this is unacceptable. There was not a plan put in place yet, and I would like to see a plan happen. Our children need to be in a safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to make an announcement for October the 8th. Robert Moore will be presenting his play at Howard High School, which is this Saturday. Are You Marriage Material? And this guy has really been working hard with his plays over the years. Look like he's really elevating. He did come talk to us and stated that he did go visit Tyler Perry, and hopefully maybe one day we'll see some of the the actors and maybe some of Tyler Perry's plays. And I know the next one he said he was doing is going to be all teenagers. So just asking people to come out and supporting. And right now I can't. I'd like to thank everybody who came out. And Mr. President, I thank you for your support for the Stormers Classic event. It was a great homecoming. Had over 800 or 1,000 people in there. And I thought the beautiful thing about it, they did some stats on it afterwards from talking to people and gathering some surveys. 85% of the gentlemen who played in Stormers Classic throughout the state, all colors, are very successful. So all of them are working. They just said they are doing pretty good from whatever scale they went on. So it goes to show that if you have a support system, it doesn't have to necessarily be basketball, but a support system in any type of sport, maybe volleyball, track, whatever. Because they hadn't seen each other, a lot of them, in 30 years, traveled from California, New York, and just the friendship and the love that was in there, it was just beautiful. And I think it was just about everybody respecting each other back then. Like they said, they had, some disagreements, but they would just shake it off, and the next day they would go out there and was very competitive. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting the Stormers Classic, and that'll be all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Fields.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. I just wanted to let everybody know that the month of October is known for National Economic Education Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and LGBT History Month. I'd also like to encourage the city of Wilmington and the constituents of the 5th District, please visit William Hicks Anderson Community Center. We have a lot of new programs going on. We have a new executive director, and she's really doing a great job over there, including the entire neighborhood. And with that being said, I have my quotes. In every day, there are 1,440 minutes. That means we have 1,440 daily opportunities to make a positive impact. Les Brown. The only time you fail is when you fall down and stay down. Stephen Richards. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, there were two mobile, the mobile services that are going to be within the city. This is talking about lead testing. It made me bring it up. I've forgotten all about it. It is going to be the community health services. They're going to have a Newcastle County mobile unit. The first one is going to be on October 11th at 3600 Miller Road from 11 to 3. The second one is going to be on October, is it the 12th? Hold up. Yeah, October the 12th, 11 to 3. And that one is going to be at Adams Ford Shopping Center. And some of the tests that they will be providing, HIV testing, COVID-19 and symptomatic clients, COVID-19 vaccinations, blood lead testing for ages 0 to 6, clinical and community resource connections, flu shots, and also educational materials. So as you know, we were speaking, I'm like, it made me remember I had gone to a meeting or two, and lead is still very important, still a high priority, making certain that we our children don't necessarily come in contact with it. I would like to state that I am having the Education Youth and Families meeting on October 12th at 5 p.m. on channel 22, or I guess when you'll see it, you can see it on YouTube as well. We'll be having presentations by some of the organizations that are in the 6th district, and also something that just got added was talking about school choice. School choice is definitely a tool that more parents need to be aware of, and I feel as though when they find out about it, it's almost too late for them to do anything about it because it's like a short time period. So please tune in on Wednesday, October 12th, and you can learn more about those two presentations or school choice. The other thing is, actually, I had the very last community resource group program fair from Wilmington Police Department on September 22nd. It actually turned out pretty well. It was a windy day initially, but I was so glad that the force came out. Got a lot of people from within the community answering questions and things of that nature. So I would like to thank them for making it, taking the time to come out. We would still like to see other ways to interact with our police department. I think that is so important. So I say kudos to David Karras, and I'm hoping that they're finding other ways to make certain that they're within the communities on other agendas besides, while we're calling 911. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, first I would just like to make the housekeeping announcement that public safety meeting is coming up this Monday at 5 p.m. Vice Chair Oliver will be running the meeting, and there's quite a few topics, so please tune in. Namely, one is we're going to go over just updates on the city's new landscape plan. And then we'll go into some other hard-hitting items. Violence continues to be at the top, I know, of my mind and many of my colleagues. We talk about a lot of other things at council, but rest assured, the public, that even when you see us here, we have a lot of meetings outside of council meetings on violence. So this is something we're continuing to move the needle forward and reimagine how we police in the city. So please stay tuned for more updates on that front. On the west side, there's quite a few events this fall. So this Saturday is quite a busy day on the west side. So we have the United Neighbors event which is straddles the 5th and 7th. We have they have live music, food, games for the kids. So that's going to be from 12 to 8 on the 4th Street Bridge. And then we also have the flea market as well, right across from the Tot lot that we're just going to be renaming soon. So that's at 4th and DuPont, and that's going to be from 11 to 2 p.m. So again, a lot of action on the west side. I think Councilmember McCoy and Fields would agree. We it's always a lot of action there. So please come out for those mini events. And then next weekend on Saturday, October 15th, is the 5th anniversary of Squeezebox Records. For those who don't know or haven't been in Squeezebox Records, they are one of the hidden gems in small businesses in Wilmington and throughout the area, actually. They have records, vinyls, 45s, CDs, cassettes, all the old school pleasures. So please come out and support this business. There's people that come from all over the country because of their extensive collection. So please come out and enjoy, and also take part in celebrating what they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Field.
Yes, Mr. President, I want to highlight two events happening in the Trolley Square neighborhood this weekend, both art-related. The first is Art Loop, which is happening all around the city, but in particular in Trolley Square. There's some interesting events going on related to and organized by Trolley Square resident Janet Wurtzel to basically a scavenger hunt to identify murals throughout the neighborhood. And all of this information can be found at the Delaware Center for Horticulture. And again, that's tomorrow night, the Art Loop, with a special emphasis on activities in Trolley Square. And the second event is from Saturday from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, the Howard Pyle Art Studio, which is located at 1305 North Franklin Street, is having an open house. He was a very famous artist that lived in that neighborhood about a century ago, and that was his studio. And there's quite a few local artists there that host an open house once a year to showcase it and try and get newcomers or other residents more interested in the local art scene. And that is this Saturday, 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock at 1305 North Franklin Street. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Cabrera.
Yes, would like to share and invite my colleagues and the greater audience in Wilmington to come out tomorrow evening, Friday, October 7th, from 5:30 to 8 p.m. to the Academy at Peace, which is at 203 North Market Street. The artist of the month is Crystal Baynard Norman. We all know Crystal, and I will be giving her a resolution and recognizing her as she retires, but she still moves forward with her books, her being an author and an artist. So I hope that you will come out and join us. Also want to remind folks that the Wilmington Awards will be next Thursday. So the Community Development and Urban Planning meeting has been moved to Wednesday, October 19th, the Wednesday before our next council meeting. And next Thursday, right here, we will be giving the Wilmington Awards. So I hope that the community will come out. And we still have 10 more days to the end of Hispanic Heritage Month. So I hope that you continue to learn a little bit about Hispanic heritage. And if you haven't had a chance to walk past the Delaware Historical Society, there is a window display that has the first Latino Americans, Hispanics in media. So I hope you get a chance to visit that. That'll be all this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. Mine are on a somber note. I do want to commend the Congo Funeral Home for their extremely professional homegoing for our former colleague. I thought it was very professionally and tastefully done. Also, I want to thank WITN, Councilmember Cabrera, and the several media outlets that showed up to our press conference yesterday to show a little respect to the 35-year business owner in the city that was brutally mugged. I believe it was quite cathartic for the family and for the son specifically to speak on it. So thank you to those that came out. And also thank you to WPD who arrested that criminal fairly quickly. We just really got to stop letting violent criminals go loose, or we're going to keep doing these press conferences, keep having victims. So also on that note, on the public safety meeting, I'm happy to have the chief magistrate join us, who will speak on some of basically the accountability of JP court judges, why they set their bail the way they do. So it should be a lively discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a few announcements. Tomorrow there is going to be a blood drive right out in front of our building on 8th and Front Streets. It's going to be in memory of Wilmington City firefighters. It's going to go on from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So again, tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. there will be a blood drive in memory of our Wilmington City firefighters. Sharon Temple, Seventh-day Adventist Church, they're having a health fair. They're located on 20th and Washington Streets. That fair is going to be on Saturday from 2 to 4. Again, on Saturday from 2 to 4, 20th and Washington Streets, hosted by Sharon Temple, Seventh-day Adventist. Next Friday, the 14th, the City of Wilmington, we're having our Fall Fest. It's going to be right out in front of our building, right here, again, right on here on 8th and French Streets. Breakfast will be at 8 a.m. They're going to have dessert trucks from 11 to 3. There's going to be a wellness walk, Garden of Games, Zen Zone, Partners in Prevention. And it's really just a health fair for current and former retirees for the City of Wilmington, just to make sure that we are keeping a check on our health. So I want to thank Danny, who has done an outstanding job of just making it a really fun event, really interactive event. Last year, I don't know if I was excited because I was beating everybody in Connect 4, but I took a blood pressure test, and my blood pressure was high. So after that, I started eating better, lost some weight. So I want to thank her for making sure that bringing that to my attention. That I do need to make sure that I'm taking care of my health. Again, that's going to be next Friday, the 14th, from 8 to 3. And like I said, I am undefeated in Connect 4, so if anybody on this floor, anybody who's watching wants to come out and challenge me, I will see you next Friday.
That's a fun event.
Also, we did have some to me, some very disturbing public comments tonight just around the residents from 8th and Adams Street. And of course, we did try to do our part to try to make sure that they were assisted as much as we could. But even that same day, it was very evident that there was not a plan. The city didn't have a plan for displaced residents, and that wasn't the first time it happened. The first time it happened was when there was flooding over in Councilwoman Oliver's district, and there was just no plan to make sure that the residents were safe and they were going to be able to be housed somewhere that was safe and fair to them. So I do think that we as a council need to, and whether it's a committee of the whole meeting, whether it's a committee meeting, that we need to just make sure that the administration and the Office of Emergency Management just has a plan for people in emergencies like that happened to us. When I say us, because it was all Wilmingtonians that happened to the Adams Street families. So I think that's very important that we're just proactive. No one wants to experience what they experienced. I know that it was very unsettling for me to hear their experiences and for them to think that that the city just doesn't care. And I know that we all do, but I think that we do have to be more proactive in making sure that we have a plan. So when that does happen, and I'm sure it will happen again, that we are just making sure that we're taking care of our residents. I think that is everything. I want to thank everyone who joined us this evening, whether in council chambers or virtually. Please continue to be a part of our meetings. Come down and give public comment. We will always get back to you with whatever your concerns are. We have an excellent staff that always follows up. So I do want to thank the staff on the 9th floor. I want to thank the WITN team just for keeping us at a very, very high standard for our community. So, and with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone disagree? Anyone want to stay a little longer? No? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.